plenty of dumb ones where I come from, but it's not everybody.
You have no accent.
I trained myself. This isn't even my original speaking voice. I pretty much killed that.
You and Kyle are similar in that way. Both of you are from the South, and you both say you just chose, like, I'm not going to speak this way.
Yeah, pretty much. Mine was twofolds. First, I was monotone for a long time, like Moist Critical. A lot of, if you go back in time to like my older videos, very dry, very boring, very little voice inflection. And I didn't feel like that was going to last. So I started teaching myself how to inflect normal voice, because apparently that's not something I learned growing up or whatever. And then later I realized Southern probably wasn't the way to go. It made me sound stupid. So I started trying to become less Southern. And over time, I guess the speaking voice and accent changed. It's certainly not in its original form, though the higher I get, the more Southern I get. Like I get really stoned and I'll kind of start drifting over toward like Boomhauer territory.
I feel it's sad to me that so many Southerners try to distance themselves from that, because it's a cool accent. It's a fun accent. Like I never had that opportunity. I'm a Midwesterner, and so I have the alpha accent, which means it can be understood by everyone. If you're from the Midwest, that's why all the newscasters come from the Midwest for the most part, because everyone can understand us. But the Southern accent is so cool. It's so nice. It's warm. It's genial. Like it's a nice, homey accent.
Maybe if you're not familiar with it, when you're surrounded by it, it can be annoying. But at the time I was going into engineering school, and like, it was like a Jeff Foxworthy joke. Like, you don't want your brain surgeon or your engineer to sound like a redneck. So I thought it would be better for my professional career to not sound like a redneck. Like, yeah, we got to strap that rocket on it, you know.
Can you drift? Could you, if you wanted, drift back? Because I would imagine someone like you or Kyle would have fantastic, like, deep South accents.
Kyle can.
Kyle can for sure.
If you put me on the spot to do it now, my Southern accent probably wouldn't be very good. It happens better naturally when I'm around more Southern people. Happens like if I'm on the gun range, or if I get really high, or if I'm doing some type of reckless redneckitude, it starts sort of coming back. But on the spot, no, I think I would fail a Southern accent test these days.
You've pushed it out. Yeah. And I guess I'm also biased because my grandparents are from like Southern Missouri, and that Missouri is one of those states, I'm sure you know, where you get further south from St. Louis, where I'm from, and you get south pretty quick, and the accents like develop. You can, if you drive from St. Louis to the bottom of Missouri, you can literally see the accent change gas station to gas station. Like every 60 miles, it gets more Southern. And I always associate my grandparents' Southern accent. That's what it seems like, because my grandparents speak in a very thick Southern Missouri rural accent. Like all those people down there are Missouri. We up here in St. Louis and KC, we're Missouri. We were the Union. They were the Federates. You know, they were down there. Just a nice little split. But I think that stinks. Like the Southern accent is so awesome. It's so friendly, so amicable. I really, really like it. But I could see that if I was surrounded with it 24/7, instead of it being a flavorful addition on occasion, I might get a little tired.
Yes. And also if you traveled and were sort of stereotyped based on that, and you got to also remember that the accent is intrinsically tied and entwined with some pretty bad racism as well.
Oh, fuck that. No, it's a regional accent. Like
people make assumptions.
That's Hollywood shit, dude. Like there's tons of great people in the South that speak thick Southern accents.
Yes, there are tons of great people, and there are tons of not great ones as well.
Sure, there's tons of not great Boston people.
Yeah, I've met a few of them. Ugh.
Boston is my least favorite American regional accent. I wish we still had transatlantic.
Ocracoke.
That transatlantic accent is entirely gone. It's extinct, really.
But wasn't that kind of fake to begin with? That was
something
just for TV.
It was a little put on, but it was fun. You know, we were racist too.
That's like the old time gangster transatlantic. Is that what they called it?
No. You're thinking of that. Yeah, you're thinking of that, but it's more like the Audrey Hepburn, like the.
To use a more recent example, it was more Nucky Thompson and the guys in that show. They forced a lot of transatlantic.
A few
in
did.
Boardwalk
Yeah, a few
Empire.
of the like Chicago or
didn't
New
do it
York
that way.
guys. Yeah, I guess so. Like
Chicago is a totally different accent. It's all nasally, which I guess is how I sound too, probably. But
not really.
you know.
You don't have much of that.
No.
I like the Chicago accent. I find it endearing. I used to watch that SNL sketch back in the day with the Bears, and everybody would
The
be
Bears.
a super Bear fan. Yeah, that's an endearing accent. It's a blue collar accent that you know, they don't think, you can tell those people aren't gonna think they're better than you. Because why would
Yeah. Then the
Why would
further
they have
west
that
you
idea?
go, the less, I guess, distinct accent you get. It
I
seems
think it's
like
because the West was settled later. Like
Sure.
the West was settled by more and different groups we talked about, mixing earlier. We had all the different Europeans come here, and then all those groups got their like regionalized state accents, and then they all went west to the West Coast, and it all got mixed up. So
there's an area here in St. Louis to this day called the Hill, and it's where the most of the WAPs live. And to this day, like on their street signs, they put like Italian flags. And so you have to drive there sometimes because that's where all the best Italian food is, because they're still there. And then you'll like get a waiter who has like an accent. And it's like, how isolated are you that you have an accent in the Midwest that sounds WAPish?
America can be like that. We still have native German speakers here in Texas, and if you're looking at like Boston, New York, and West Coast, you have a lot of Asian language only communities. We're big enough, and we've got the space and the people. We can have a lot of different accents.
What about the high Northeast? Is there like a distinct Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire accent that I'm just unaware of? Do you guys know? I've never heard it. If there is, you'd be the one to ask.
The ground is sour. Like you're talking about like that guy from Pet Cemetery, because that one is so hard for me to do.
Is that a Maine accent?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to go up that rod.
The ground is sour.
To me,
boy in there.
New York, Maine, Vermont, etc., are just kind of a neutral accent, like in the way that Taylor describes his area.
Mm-hmm.
They come back changed.
But I'm not.
You know about it's I think I'm reading it. It's Ocracoke Island in North Carolina.
Sure, I've been there.
Do you know about the accent that they're famous for having?
No.
It's famous for its unique hoy-toiter accent, a 17th century brogue, often described as a mixture of Elizabethan English, Irish, and Scottish, largely due to centuries of isolation. It is frequently cited as the only American accent that is not immediately identified as American by outsiders.
How interesting.
I watched a little, I don't know if it was a doc, but it was at least like a long YouTube video about those people, and they're interviewing them, and they're very difficult to understand. You need captions, and right off the coast of North Carolina. And they talk about how they don't want their accent to die out. And it's one of those island communities where like you don't want people to leave and you don't want new people to come in necessarily. They really want to preserve that hoy-toiter accent they've got. When you hear them and you're like, are you sure this is North Carolina? Because it sounds like, I don't know, Welsh or something. It sounds weird, funky, English, Scottish, Irish. Well, like they said, it's bizarre.
This is an awesome accent. We got to keep these guys around in North Carolina. Wow.
Yeah, and you can only get there by ferry. Or at least when I went there, that was the case. It was a wild. It was like an hour-long ferry ride.
I love regional accents, especially in America, but other countries too. It's sad that kind of the internet and all these things have, it's good in a way, but it's also sad that we've seen the dissolution of these really distinct voices that are fun to hear.
I see where you're coming from, although that's not where I typically come from. I'm usually happy that like we've created a melting pot and like remove some of the differences between us. That's where I come from. But
do you think accents have lessened or something, Taylor? Or is that what we're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that people getting closer, you're absorbing content from people who speak more. Everything seems to be more Midwestern now, more homogenized. It's a good word, but it's more coming to this like newspeak Midwesterner talk. And even that like Southern Midwesterner, not even like that Minnesota, where they kind of like, Fargo style talk, like a little sillier, which is a fun accent as well. It's sad to see the regional accents go. I don't like that.
I remember the first time I met a Yankee, and we were all like it like sounded so weird to my ear that it was like, it sounded effeminate. It sounded weak. It sounded like I don't know. We were all just like, our ears perk up when we heard this guy from Maryland.
And yet they still curb stomped you in the Great Civil War.
Oh, dude! You just,
first of all, the War of Northern Aggression it has been greatly altered in the history books. As they say, history is written by the victor, or as I like to say, the cheater, the loser, the filthy Union, the blue bellies who stormed their Southern brothers' land and raped, pillaged, and murdered. You
know what you Southerners typically call me? Sir.
Oh, well, that's just polite. Like you guys are just
I forgot your rank in the colonial army.
I do it again.
You guys are rude as hell.
I remember getting on Xbox Live for the first time, and you're chatting with people around the world. Somebody from the UK heard my accent and called me a Yankee, and I didn't know that was like a generalized slur for Americans, which would have been fine, but I was deeply offended that I was being compared to, as Kyle says, an effeminate Northerner. I was like, really?
Yes.
Do I really sound like that?
That kid asked for a pop. We almost beat him to death right there.
I gave him the flat cannon.
No,
I'd never heard anyone say that in my life.
The word is soda.
We drink Coke.
Soda is what they say in the Northeast.
That kid asked for a fucking pop. He was from Maryland. He was
a lot
of
my brother. Sometimes soda.
St. Louis is the one island of soda within a sea of pop and Coke. Because everybody Southern of us says Coke and everybody Northern of us says pop. And you said Baltimore is like an example of it. Have you heard someone from Baltimore City talk?
Oh, I watched The Wire, of course. Yeah, I love their accent.
The Wire made me laugh because I pay attention to the accents because I really enjoy that diversity of accents. I really enjoy that. Yeah. And you hear the main characters like doing their best to put on a Baltimore accent. And then they had a police chief in like the first season or something come out who was actually from Baltimore. And he gets up there and he's like, now guys, what you need to be doing, we need to be careful and make sure that, we're looking at all the potential.
Oh, that's the white guy with the mustache.
This and that. Yeah. It's the white guy with the mustache. He was like,
good accent. Yeah.
We need to make sure that, a lot of us are worried about these sort of things going on, but at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're protecting our community. And that's how like a thick Baltimore accent sounds. And we're losing that sort of thing.
They hit their, like, when a word ends with like two O's or the sound of two O's, they make it more of a ew. They like twist it a little. It's interesting. I've been rewatching The Wire recently. I'm on the final season finally. I love The Wire. It's definitely up there in my like Mount Rushmore of shows.